And we're live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live as I get things situated here. What's everybody doing? Hope your Wednesday is going great. Let's see. Y'all have beaten me here. Sam's here. Sam, good morning. Sam says hello, everyone. What's going on? Sam, we missed you the last couple of weeks. Hope you're doing well. Dallas here. Dallo says good Wednesday. Good Wednesday to you, Dallo. How's your guitar build going along? So I was a couple minutes late getting started because there's a giant fly in here buzzing around. And I was trying to get him out of here, and I thought it was gone, but it's not. So I might have to, hopefully it'll land somewhere and I can smash it. It's getting to be that time of year again, unfortunately. It's finally starting to warm up, although I'm still wearing a beanie, but I've been on and off. There's been several days where I haven't needed the beanie. We're getting close. Finally starting to feel a little warmer around here. So first off, I want to apologize for that fly. If you hear him buzzing around, I'm going to do my best to try to eliminate him. He just needs to land somewhere, and then I'll take care of him. So I'm going to keep an eye out. Anyway, Robert's here. Robert says, howdy, everyone. Time surfing alien. Hit that like on the way in. Yeah. Kapow. What do they say? Smash that like button. I never was a fan of that saying. Did he land? He didn't land. Dang it. Ace Man McCool says, hi from Manchester. 4 p.m. here. Right on. What's going on, Ace Man? Robert says, you're pixelated pretty bad. Well, Robert, I'm sorry about that. My apologies. He says it's getting better. Okay, good. Harry Dude says, what's up? What's up, Harry Dude? What's on your bench this fine Thursday morning for you? Let's see. Time Serpent says, no glare today. I'll take it off. It's just a little bit cool. If I'm outside, if I was out in the sun, I wouldn't need this. It's warming up, but it's still only in the 50s right now. But probably later. I won't have this on for too much longer, probably. And Donna's here. Donna says, hey, coffee up. I was just going to do that. A coffee cheers to all of you. Cheers. Time Surfing says, get you a salt shooting fly gun. I've seen those. Have you ever used one? Do they work good? I don't know. I've seen them. This looks like a kind of a fun little thing. I might have to try one. Anybody tried one? Do they do anything? Nadella says, send up a noisy fellow soon. Yes, he is. He is very noisy. But he won't land. He won't hold still. I don't hear him now. He must be landed somewhere, but I don't see him. Yeah, he's landed someplace. But I don't see where he is. I heard him. Dang it. He's going to distract me the whole time. That's why I was trying to get him out of here. Jimmer's here. Jimmer says, yo. What's up, Jimmer? I was going to say what's on your workbench, but what's on your lift this morning? Robert says, I was watching a video from Rudy's Adventure in Design. He's working on building a lowered 60-something pickup. Engineering for the rear end is something else. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen any of his latest videos. I've seen some of his stuff. I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds cool. Sam says Jeff's face is all pixelated up. Should get a checkup. Well, I don't know about pixelated, but I guess you can see I got a little scratch right here. That really, I thought it was gone, but in the camera, I can really see it pretty well. We had some winds, I don't know, a week or so ago, some fairly strong winds, and there's a few dead trees around, and one of them blew over. So I was out there a couple days ago, slicing it up, just chopping the limbs and stuff off and throwing the limbs kind of all off to the side. And when I grabbed one of the limbs, there was a branch sticking off it that I didn't realize was there. And when I flung it up out of the way, the branch whacked me in the face and gave me a little scratch. It's a little bit tender, actually, but no big deal. It's just a scratch. I just rubbed some dirt in there and it's fine. Harry Dude says, today's workbench adventures involve swearing at more DMX stage lighting, surface mount soldering on aluminum circuit boards, nasty high temp stuff. Oh man. Well, Harry Dude, I hope you get it sorted out. Don't be, don't burn yourself with that high temp soldering stuff. Can't say I've ever soldered an aluminum circuit board. Yeah, it sounds like you'd have to have pretty high temps for that. Harry Dude says you need one of those fly swatters that are electric tennis rackets. I've seen those too. Yeah, I'm not looking forward. That's one thing that I'm not looking forward to. Flies. We get so many flies. And then they get in here and drive me nuts. He's landed again. But I can't see him. Sam says it was a reference to the pixelated feed. I know. I know what you were talking about, but I was looking at the picture and I noticed that I have the scratch here. Anyway, well, what in the world have we been working on around here? Oh boy. Other than the leather project for the knife sheath that I showed you last week. That was the video this past weekend. I'm still working on necks. And it seems like as soon as I get one issue sorted out, another one pops up. So this neck I carved, let's see, what today's Wednesday. I carved this Monday afternoon, and I thought I had pretty much everything figured out. I even glued in a sample fretboard marker, but when I carved the radius, the bit was going down in and carving it back out. I'm like, it's working against me. So I had to go back in and figure out what the heck in the toolpath is going on with this thing. I think I got that fixed. So it's time to do another neck. And then the only other thing I really got to finalize is what I'm going to do exactly for a logo on the headstock. I need to get after that. I think I've got everything else mostly worked out. Yeah, we're getting there. It's one thing after another. And they said that CNC machines just do all the work for you. Totally not true. But anyway, this is what I've been working on. I got some maple here, some neck stock that when I get to the actual neck, got this from a friend of mine yesterday. We did a little horse trading, as they say. Traded some stuff that I had for some stuff that he had, and now I got me a nice piece of maple here to be able to use for some actual base necks, and just trying to keep things moving along. Of course, now, when we talked last Wednesday was the last day of school for this, pretty much all the schools in our area, or at least last week anyway, but last Wednesday was the last day for my daughter's school, so she's now out of school, and we've been spending some time together, hanging out, just getting some things done, working on some ideas for some summer projects, some things that that I like to try to at least do a video once in a while with her in there so we can work together and, work on some things. So I don't have anything completely figured out yet, but the ideas are going, especially as we're hanging out and spending the days together. So be on the lookout at some point. That's what I'm trying to say. For some projects, just got to figure out exactly what we're going to do, because at the moment, I don't know yet. But yeah, we're kind of just getting into the summer routine, trying to get things rolling. One thing I got to do that has nothing to do with the shop is finally I got to get some lawn mowing, grass mowing, weeds, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it is this last week or so. I don't know if it's because the weather's gotten nicer. Man, the green has taken off, and now I'm kind of behind on my mowing. So I got to get after that one of these days. Get that done. That's usually a several day project. So maybe I'll start on that. Maybe I'll start working on that like in the evenings or something. I don't know, but I got to get it done because it's going out of control now. And I'm just rambling here. I'll catch up with your comments in just a second. That tree that I was cutting up that decided to whack me in the face, there's a section of it that's big enough that I think I can mill up a little bit of lumber out of it. It's some more elm, which is kind of cool because I really have liked working with that elm, and I've used most of what I have. So I'm pretty excited to haul that log out of there and see if I can get some usable pieces. It's kind of a weird shape. I won't get anything super long, but if I can get some usable stuff out of there, that'll be awesome. So maybe we'll do that in a video, slicing up this weird log thing. Alrighty, let's see. Robert says it's the pickup he's working on for his brother. Not really what I would do for a pickup, but I guess his brother's looking forward to the pickup of his being finished. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I definitely like those 60s pickups, especially the 60s Chevys. Is that what you said it was? I can't remember. Oh, a 60-something pickup. I definitely like the 60s. 67 to 72 is my favorite. And Paul's here. Paul says, hello all. Sorry I'm late. No worries, Paul. I was a couple minutes late because there's a loud fly in here and I was trying to get him out. I haven't heard him though, so maybe he's hiding somewhere. He knows I'm going to swat him. I surely don't hear him. Maybe we scared him off. Yeah, right. Sam says, last week, you didn't see me as I was in sunny Gran Canaria. It was very warm, but someone on the return flight thought it would be a good idea to have a nasty cold and not wear a mask in the flying tube. Oh man, hope you didn't get sick. That always happens to me. Almost every time I go on a vacation, like travel somewhere, I get sick afterwards. or during, really, it seems like. I don't know why. Just never anything bad, just like a nasty cold. I always seem to pick something up. Robert says, that maple board looks big enough to build more than a few necks. Yes, there is. If I'm careful with the placement, there's a knot up there. You can't really see it. Yeah, there is enough. If I'm careful with how I set this up, I could probably get 4 necks out of it, I think. I just have to be careful with how I lay everything out. There's one knot right at the very end. There's one right there. But I think I can miss it. And if I lay that out, I can get it probably at least 4. So, and that's what I wanted. I needed enough to, or I wanted to get enough to be able to make several necks. I'm trying my best to work out all the kinks on some less than ideal stock. because I don't want to end up wasting some. I'm sure I'm going to ruin one at some point, or I'm going to run into some weird thing. I don't know. Hopefully I don't. But yeah, there's plenty here for several necks, and looking forward to getting to that. Oh, a splinter, of course. But yeah, there's nothing. It's not really super fancy. There's a little bit of curl in here, but it's not really a highly figured board. I'm not looking for something like that just yet. Once I get the rest of this process ironed out, then we'll look at some different stuff. But right now, I just wanted some regular old maple, so we can keep this project rolling. Eights Man McCool says, you may have discussed this in previous live chats, but with all the guitar talk, just wondering who's your favorite guitarist? Mine's Johnny Marr from the Smiths. That's a tough one. And I almost don't have an answer for that. I'm not, I don't know. I almost would say I don't have necessarily a favorite guitarist. There's so many different things that I like about different kinds of music. There's a ton of, like, I like a wide range of stuff, and I can take inspiration from all different genres. I have some genres that I like better than others. I don't think I have a favorite guitarist, really. I'm not a shredder or a lead player or much of anything. I can appreciate all of the talent in those that are, like the Hendrix and the different icons throughout the decades. But I don't think I have a favorite guitar player. If I think about that, I don't think I do, which might be odd, being a guitar player myself. But yeah, I like and appreciate pretty much all of them, really, for different aspects. Even if it's not my kind of playing or my kind of music. It's not really a direct answer to your question, but it's about the best I can come up with at the moment. And I like those random kinds of questions. So, I've said it 100 times before. Don't ever hesitate. If you got something you want to throw out there, it doesn't have to stay on or be on whatever we're talking about. Throw the question out there. I like the randomness and just the different conversations that come up. So I'm going to throw it all back to all of you. Who is your favorite guitarist? Doesn't matter doesn't matter the style, or doesn't matter the genre, any of that stuff. Just where do you get inspiration from? Who do you like to listen to? Who's your favorite? I like that one, Ace Man McCool. Sam said, I got a nasty cold as a result. Almost gone now, but the lingering cough. Oh, yes. The cough always seems to be the last thing to go. You could feel completely fine, but for some reason, that cough just hangs on. BLZ's here. BLZ says, cheers from the Netherlands. What's up, BLZ? How's everything going in the Netherlands? That's cool. Right on. And what are you up to this fine Wednesday? Is it, let's see, in the Netherlands, it's probably Wednesday afternoon, I'm guessing, sometime. I'm starting to get a little bit of an idea of some of the times in some of the other areas. Sam says, don't forget to like. It's totally free. It is totally free. If you're enjoying this, hit that thumbs up. Show the YouTubes that this is the place to hang out on a Wednesday morning or afternoon, depending on, or Thursday morning, depending on where you are in this world. Jimmer says, nothing special in the shop today. Fiddling with old Coleman lanterns at home. Right on. You got the day off? That's cool. Getting stuff ready for the summer camping adventures. BLZ says, summer finally started. I mean, it's not raining for a few days straight. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel here, minus the rain. It feels like summer is starting to begin. Uh, for those of you that don't know, I'm in the state of Colorado. I live at a pretty high elevation, and right here where I live, the elevation is 7,000 feet above sea level. Um, and it seems like our season, especially spring and summer, is way, way, way behind a lot of other areas. And I don't know if that's just due to the if that's caused by the elevation or what it is, but everything seems super late here, depending compared to other parts of the country or the world. But finally, it's like spring and summer are very late. Like I feel like it's almost June. I shouldn't be wearing a sweatshirt and a beanie, but our mornings are still cold, and our days. Yesterday, 2 days ago, when I was cutting up that dead tree, it was in the 80s. I mean, and I got sunburn on my arms, and it was super nice. But our mornings are still quite chilly, and yeah, it's just taking a while. But we're getting there too. Now, if we got we could use a little rain shower, but summer's it's it's getting here. That's what I'm trying to say. BLZ says it's 5:22 p.m. That's what I kind of suspected. Robert says, after the stream, I need to go out and do some more tree trimming. I have a few that make it a pain to mow under. June 1st is a town cleanup day, so any trimmings the town will take care of. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of that, trying to, just get some stuff in order because I know I'm going to have to mow. And like I said, the last few days, everything is just shot up. And yeah, it's really annoying. I don't know about the rest of you. Like if you're mowing, and whether it's a push mower or a riding mower or whatever, when you gotta like duck and like hit your head on tree branches, that's super annoying. So like try to trim them up a little bit. Yeah, I think I've got most of ours taken care of. We don't have much to trim anyway. We don't have a whole lot of trees. But I know what you mean, Robert. They are a pain to mow under. Dastardly Dave's here. Dave, what's up? Dave says, sup all. Sup, Dave? How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Jimmer says, no day off. Just what's on the workbench. Aha, there you go. Gotcha. Sam says, what oil is best for spring cleaning times? What are you trying to oil, Sam? I need a little bit more context there. Oil for spring cleaning. Depends on what we're cleaning. Jimmer says Memorial Day, the unofficial first day of summer. Yeah, it's kind of, and that's what we had here. Our Memorial Day was really nice. It was actually quite hot, but it was only just that day or so. Yesterday was much cooler. We had a little rain. I don't know what. I think we've got a couple of days with chances of rain, but we're getting there. Typically here, seems like our seasons the last several years, it seems like all the way through the end of May has been, I mean, it's slowly getting nicer, but still cool. But once we hit June, it's like our spring is 3 days long, and when you hit June, it goes to right to summer, and it gets super hot. I don't know if it'll do that this year, but I wouldn't be surprised. Paul says, we had some bad storms night before last, and I spent yesterday helping neighbors clear as much of the tree damage as possible. Yeah, I saw that picture that you posted. That's pretty crazy. Hopefully everyone's okay and nothing had severe damage or anything. I've heard about some bad storms. Robert, somewhere in Oklahoma, I heard about like a tornado or something. Hopefully that was nowhere near where you are. Robert says to Paul, yeah, this year has been pretty rough because of really bad storms in different states. Sam says spring cleaning. Oh, it doesn't specify whether to clean a spring or in spring. Just says spring cleaning. I gotcha. Yeah, you don't. You don't want dirty springs. Your springs need to be clean. So you got to clean them off. Paul says, wife and I were in Indiana for the past few days. Had storms up in Fort Wayne also. Interesting. Wow. It's storm season, it seems like. I've seen some pictures. I got a friend that lived in Missouri, and they had posted up a picture somewhere near them. It looked like a pretty nasty, nasty storm that was coming through. But yeah, it's hopefully we all get through and nobody gets anything too severe. So, what's coming up here at Home Built Workshop? I think I've mentioned before that I got to do a rebuild on one of the cigar box guitars that I built quite a few years ago. That the neck needs some help. So I think I'm going to be starting on that maybe this week, slowly getting into it. You're going to do that rebuild. I keep thinking about that, and I want to do it. I was hoping to keep going on this, get the next episode done of the bass, but I'm going to keep working out these kinks until I feel more comfortable with having that all worked out. So I think in the meantime, I'm going to start on that cigar box guitar rebuild, which I think will be cool. It'll be kind of nice to get that thing back to where I can play it and the neck doesn't bend. You'll see what it does here when I get into the video. Just needs to be reworked, and I think I'm going to start on that. Get that thing done. Robert says there've been a few twisters that have pretty much wiped out some small towns here in Oklahoma. So far, only a few fatalities. Oh man, that's awful. Paul says it was so bad here that some stoplight poles were bent and it uprooted school zone signs from the cement. Wow. Wow. Sam says, try drinking plain boiling water with a touch of sugar. It's meant to be good for the body. Sounds like it would hurt. I can hardly drink hot coffee without it hurting my throat. But that's interesting. Jimmer says, only springs I clean use REM oil. Yeah. Robert says, I saw a couple days ago, some town in Kentucky was hit hard. Man, they're everywhere, it seems. I haven't heard about that. Paul says, got to finish my blue guitar. Just finished the memorial guitar and gave it to my daughter. Right on. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw the pictures of that. It looks like it turned out really nice. Yep, got to try to keep the guitar projects going. I got a few that I need to get checked off my list. One being that cigar box, two being this one, which was supposed to be easy, right? That's what they say. They say it's easy, that the machine does all the work. Sam said, did you try the Bacon Buddies yet? I have not. I don't know where to try one. I'm going to have to just make one myself. But it sure sounds good. I did see something the other day along that topic, Sam. I don't know, some show that I think, I don't even know what it was exactly, but some show, and one of the guys on the show ran like a buddy truck or something, that they have like food trucks where they sell those sorts of things. But that's what it sounded like. Like it's a food truck that sells like Bacon Buddies. And I'm like, oh, I've heard of those. Paul says her favorite colors are red and black. Her school colors, was that my school colors? Red and black, or was it red and white? I know it was red, and I feel like maybe it was white. I don't know. It says was real hard to find red pickups and hardware for it. Yeah, sometimes some of that stuff is a little bit tricky. Robert says some experts are saying that it looks like Tornado Alley is moving towards the east this year. That's kind of weird. Yeah, Kentucky, Indiana, that just seems It seems a little odd. Maybe it has. Maybe the jet stream. Jimmer says green and white. Well, it was for 2 years. It was green and white, but then it changed. Sam says use what Americans call Canadian bacon. U.S. bacon is hard and brittle. I love U.S. bacon. Seems weird to call it U.S. bacon. It's just bacon to me, but in fact, we had bacon yesterday. I made waffles and bacon for dinner. But yes, Canadian bacon, I like that as well. But that's interesting. You would use Canadian bacon for a sandwich. I'm not against it whatsoever. Dallas says maybe can make the red pickup covers with a 3D printer. Yes, you probably could. You probably could. I'm working on, I feel like I got a ton of things that I'm working on all at once, and not all of them are in video form. So of course I'm working on this, the base. But I'm also working on a couple other things related to the CNC machine, and I'm doing them off camera, really because I can't really. It doesn't feel like a video project to me. I'm working on getting my CNC machine. Let me back up. My CNC machine uses a trim router right now, a Makita 1/4-inch trim router, and when you start the program, you've got to turn on the machine, or turn on the router, hit the switch. Well, that's not hard. There are some things you can connect the router to, like a relay box, and then it'll allow the machine to turn the router on and off. Well, I've been working on that, getting it wired in, hooked up, and trying to automate some of this stuff so that if I'm not exactly right there when the program finishes, it'll just shut off the router and everything will be good. And so right now, if I were to, well, I wouldn't leave and like go somewhere, but let's just say I did, which is very unsafe, but I started a cut and the machine's going and I left and I wasn't back for a while. When the machine's done, the router would just sit there whirring away. And you can probably imagine how that's not a good idea, and also really why you shouldn't ever leave. You shouldn't just leave it unattended. But I'm working on wiring up this relay box and getting everything connected so that the machine will turn the router on and off. I'm also adding an emergency stop button. And Della, you said the 3D printing. That's because I'm designing right now a little enclosure that'll hold the emergency stop button. And rather than buying one, I'm just designing one in Fusion, and then I'll 3D print that probably this afternoon. Just kind of working on some things, especially since I've been spending so much more time with that machine lately, just trying to get a few things ironed out. These are things that I wanted to do right from the beginning when I got the machine, but I just haven't done it. But now I'm there, like almost every single day I'm running that machine and just doing a couple little improvements and things like that are just not going to make it into a video, because it's really it's just one of those things that just needs to be done, and kind of been taking up a little bit of time here and there, just wiring things. But that's where I was going. So the relay box that turns the router on and off, I just ordered online. It's a common relay box, one of those IoT relays. The box is bad. Right out of the box. I got it in the mail, took it out, hooked it up. I already had it wired to the control box, and it doesn't switch outlets on and off. And here I probably spent several hours thinking that I had wired it wrong, and after testing it with a meter, my voltage, it's 2 wires that connect to the relay, everything's correct. The voltage is turning on and off, but the relay box is not switching. So that cost me about 3 hours, and now I got to send it back, and I'm getting a replacement, but it's about a headache. It's bacon because it's so thick. I like bacon. Any bacon, any sausage, pork. Yeah, you can't go wrong. Robert says, I saw a recipe video for smoked bacon wrapped cheese. That sounds amazing. And Scott's here. Scott says, hey, Jeff, good morning, all. Good morning, Scott. How are you this fine Wednesday morning? Heritage says, I made 3D printed humbucker mounting rings for a customer not long ago. Couldn't get black ones in the size the customer wanted. 3D printer to the rescue. Yep. Isn't it awesome to be able to do stuff like that? I mean, what a world we live in, right? When, you want something in a certain configuration, how awesome is it to be able to just, several clicks, and instead of ordering the thing, you're printing it now on your 3D printer. Like it's amazing. It's so cool. Like this stop button enclosure that I'm making. You can buy them. They're not that expensive, but I've already got the 3D printer. It just takes me a little bit of time to do some modeling, and we'll print the thing out in a few hours. I'll have it done. Bam, it's ready. Like sometimes I just have to stop and go, man, this is like absolutely incredible. Like what a time to be alive. But really it is. If you stop and think about it. You're like, you can't get this certain humbucker ring. Oh, then no problem. I'll just print them. Skoden Lures is here. Skoden says, happy Wednesday, all. Happy Wednesday to you, Skoden Lures. Hope your day is going awesome. Jimmer says, have you watched any of the videos where the guy from Guns and Guitars, where he's been working with different CNC machines to build guitars with? Yes, I have. I think he posted one not long ago. That I have not watched that yet, but yeah, Dan from Guns and Guitars. I've been kind of following along with his journey, his builds, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, Jimmer says, I'm calling them COVID parts or COVID era parts. Everything made in that time frame seems to be junk. No quality. Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. There was a time in history that probably all of us remember, not that long ago, when everything seemed to have been shut down. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I think a lot of that is still filtering through, which really stinks. Like that relay box that I got, if I bought it brand new, hooked it all up, and it doesn't work. And, it cost me, I probably all in have I have an entire afternoon in hooking everything up and then troubleshooting, trying to figure out why it wasn't working, only to discover that my end, everything was correct. But this relay box that I just took out of the brand new retail packaging didn't work. And, it's just a drag because I had it hooked up correctly the very first time and it should have just worked, but it didn't. So then I had to waste an afternoon trying to figure out why. And it's unfortunate that stuff like that happens. And you're probably right. It's probably still that, time frame where things were all screwed up. Dallas says, relay trouble. Yeah, I had a lot of relay trouble. It's crazy. And a drag. They're supposed to be sending me a new one. I got to ship this old one back. I got one of those return label things, RMA labels or whatever. But it's just a headache. Shouldn't have to deal with that. Make sure the stuff works first. Paul says, yeah, if I did enough stuff that warranted it, I would get something like a 3D printer. Only have one, maybe 2 issues a year with stuff, so don't have the need. Yeah, I know. I hear you, Paul. Sometimes you just don't. If you don't have a whole lot of need for it, yeah, maybe it's not a big deal. But I really like being able to. I should have brought the little emergency stop button out. Um, I used to work with those a lot when I worked in the corporate world. I was in maintenance and repair and in production machine maintenance kind of a thing. So I worked with these things a lot, stop buttons and stuff. So I know exactly, I know what the little enclosures are and all that is. There's nothing to it. It's just a plastic, it's just a box. Has a stop button in the top. But just being able to model this thing up, and I'll be printing it out probably in an hour. It's just so cool. And I'll have a working model, by this evening, rather than trying to order something. It's just crazy. But if you ever need something printed, I might know someone. Uh, Harry Dude says I set the model for the mounting ring so I can just enter the measurements I need, and it rebuilds the model to spec. Yes. So you're doing a parametric model, and I try to build as much of that into my models as possible. If I ever feel like I'm going to need to adjust something, I build it in to I give it a parameter just like that. Like even on this little control box, I probably don't need to do too many parameters, but I've got screw holes in parameters. I've got wall thicknesses in parameters. I do as much as I can for that exact reason. If I need to adjust something, it's a lot easier to just go into the parameters, make the adjustment, and everything recalculates. It's such a cool way to design. So I would recommend for anyone who's getting into 3D design, CAD type stuff for 3D modeling and things like that, take advantage of the parameters like Harry Dude was talking about, because it makes small adjustments super easy. Things like screw holes. If you're maybe not 100% sure exactly what it needs to be, put that on a parameter so that you need to increase it, 10 thousandths or whatever to make a screw fit better or whatever. It's so handy. So I really encourage anybody who's going to mess with that sort of stuff, explore. If you haven't yet, explore those parameters because they are so helpful in a lot of things. Pretty much everything I design, even if it's a super simple part, I'm going to have at least one or two parameters in there that I can, easily make adjustments to, especially for something like a pickup ring. That's a perfect application. If you want to create, separate pickup rings for this one doesn't take a ring, but if you want, you just take your measurements and you punch it into your parameter and it automatically updates, and there you go. I'm looking forward to trying these as a side note. I think it's going to be cool. But yeah, good call, Harry Dude. Those parameters are super awesome. Sam says around 5 years ago, there was a spate of Americans eating English mustard and regretting it. Interesting. Harry Dude says Americans eating Vegemite is hilarious also. I think I've seen some of that. Jimmer says, yep, they're still out there on the shelves. I'm pretty sure that's what I got with this. Sam says Americans eating Marmite. I have not. What's Marmite? Is that similar to Vegemite? Jimmer says run into it every day. Yeah. Yep. It's a drag. Robert says Ewar Custom Guitars channel also has a series where he started out using a CNC to start working on guitars, and it was start to finish with mistakes and everything. Also with jigs he built as well. Yeah, there's so much. I can imagine that series. I've not watched that series. Mistakes, and it's I kind of been trying to show you guys along the way, some of the progress, different things that I'm working on, like I mentioned earlier, this one. So my process is I drill these, drill the fretboard markers and the nut slot. Then I can glue in the fretboard markers while this is still connected to the table. Then I'll cut the fret slots. Well, you could mix and match the order. But then when I come in and do the radius, it cuts these all flush and everything's good to go. But after it finished cutting the radius and I started inspecting this, I'm like, wait, my fretboard marker is gone. So I went in a little closer and inspected the file, and it was doing the radius, but when it got to the dot, the fretboard marker, the bit came along, whoop, went down, and then continued its cut. And it got to the next one, it came right over the top, and then whoop, and it drilled it right back out. I'm like, well, that's not helpful. So I think I got that corrected. It's just all kinds of things along the way that I just didn't anticipate, or maybe I didn't notice it before. But I know in this pile of necks, there's so many of them. In this pile of necks, this one has the fretboard marker, and it didn't drill it out. So these are the things that I don't quite understand. Why all of a sudden did it go from working correctly to then drilling out my fretboard markers? And this is stuff that I'm just learning and figuring out. I mean, look at this pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 neck blanks. There's a fretboard. There's a fretboard. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. A little bit frustrating, but it is quite the journey. Paul says, my most recent need was a small laser engraver, so I can engrave my headstocks. Normally cost me $30 each, and I used it for the memorial guitar, so it's worth the cost. Yes, I think, to your point, I think having some sort of a laser engraver doesn't even have to be a big giant one. If you get some uses for it, your logos and things like that, absolutely super handy. Mike Johnson's here. Good morning, Mike. He says, morning. He says slowly, opening his eyes. What's going on? Sounds like a line out of a book. Well written. Good morning, Mike. Go get you a cup of coffee or something. Rub the sleep out of there. Hope your day is going to be great. Adela says, today I had toolpath trouble. I didn't check the path while I was doing other things. The router cut the outer line first, and then it met the inner. Hooked the material, messed up. Oh, no. Well, it's kind of funny. Where'd that one go? So while I was experimenting with different, there's a bazillion different order of operations, right? And it's just a matter of what process works for you. While I was playing around with things, okay, I got the neck carved. This one's kind of a little bit messy, but it's not, it's not horrible. I flipped it over, and speaking of toolpath trouble, this one, I accidentally had it set. So when you have your lines, you have to tell the machine what side of the line to cut on. And it makes a big difference, especially if you're using a 1/4 inch bit, because, well, now I got a really skinny neck because I had it set to cut on the wrong side of the line. I was supposed to cut the outer contour, and it was a drag because this was the last operation, and I had it set to cut on the wrong side of the line. So it was cutting the inside, which gave me a really skinny neck. I wonder if I could use that for a cigar box. No, that'd be too hard to make it work. But yeah, this one also, fretboard markers, and it didn't drill them out. So I don't know why all of a sudden it started drilling out the other ones. But yeah, tool paths, they can get a little complicated. You gotta tell it. You gotta tell it exactly what to do. And if you tell it the wrong thing, it's gonna cut on the wrong side of the line. I'm just super glad that I have a bunch of material that I can use, and I don't have to use I don't have to learn all this stuff, on like some actual usable maple. I wish I could use this other stuff for more than test stock, but at least I can just keep throwing. I don't feel bad. If I got to throw a new piece up on there, I just throw a new piece up on there. And if it makes mistakes, like cuts on the wrong side of the line, it's fine. We'll throw a new piece up on there. Sam says, Marmite, it's a byproduct of beer making progress. It's a thick black substance with a salty taste, but on buttered toast with a cup of tea, it's fairly nice. You either love it or hate it. It sounds, I've never had Marmite or Vegemite, but isn't Vegemite very similar, Hairy Dude? Does that sound like what Vegemite is? Robert says, gotta watch out for that. AI will mess you up every time. It does have its own mind, Yeah, it does. It does. Have you guys played around with any of that AI stuff? I haven't a ton, but once in a while I'll just mess around with it. To me, it just seems like it doesn't seem much different than like a Google search to me. It just feels more like a person is responding to you instead of Google, like a robot person. But like it's not. I don't know. I guess I don't quite get the allure necessarily yet. But I don't know. Maybe I'll figure that out eventually. Dallas says you could use the thick black binding. Yeah, or thick binding. That would be like a 1/4 inch thick binding. It would be that would be kind of crazy. Sam says, isn't there a law that says you can't play around with AI? I don't know. Whoa. Robert says, had to do a stream restart because it froze. Well, darn it. I'm glad you're back, though. Yep, I am finding that this whole thing is just quite the learning process. I think I guess it might not be that bad if I had more experience. If I was already experienced in like CNC a little more, and that sort of thing. But there's just been so many opportunities for me to learn new things for this, and it's really been. I'm really enjoying it, like it or not. I know you guys don't give me a hard time, but it's just been a really fun yet frustrating process. Like when stuff like this happens, and stuff like it goes in and re-drills out your fretboard markers. There's just so many things for me to learn, and I love learning new things. I try to learn something all of the time, and this has been one of those processes. It's taken a lot longer than I thought it would ever take, but I'm really enjoying the process, learning everything, and getting things like this worked out. And I just can't wait to jump in and and figure out and actually get this prize. What am I trying to say? Just to get this progress rolling along a little bit more. It's quite the journey. Harry Dude says Marmite is the original from the UK. Vegemite is the Aussie version made with a similar process. Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense then. Jimmer says, picked up a cool 1940s Craftsman Mohawk drill press. Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. That thing will probably run forever. My drill press is a Craftsman, but it's not one of the cool old ones. It's I don't know, I've had it probably 20 years, but it is one of the newer things, but so far it's been great. It's not one of the new revamped Craftsman things. I don't know 100% yet how I feel about that. Sam says you could make an RC tank lawnmower to do the grass cutting in the yards. You know, that would be cool. But I don't know how you if it's RC. I was thinking those robot ones, and I've actually had, you know, some of the like Amazon people contact me about trying their robot vacuum or robot lawnmower things, and I'm like, you've not seen my yard. There's zero chance that that would work. But an RC one would be kind of fun. You just sit there in a shade, you know, under a shade tree. I don't know. I actually enjoy mowing. My little riding mower. Get out there. Robert says, no, I haven't messed with AI. I've watched some YouTube videos that have been narrated it, and you can tell since it gets confused with the different genders when talking about he and she. Yeah, you can tell when, you know, it's definitely AI narrated, or maybe it's not AI, but there's another one I'm thinking of where it's very electronic sounding. Sam says, don't use power tools directly from China. Paul says, don't like the new Craftsman tools. Quality is no longer there. Yes, that's well said, Paul. That's kind of where I was going with it. You know, a lot of you, probably all of you, you know, the old school Craftsman tools, they were awesome. You know, the old ratchets, sockets, whatsoever. You know, these guys, they're actual, I got some other ones. The old Craftsman hand tools. Here's one right here. This one was my grandpa's. I know that because he painted his yellow. He painted the handles on his tools all yellow. I have basically the same one. Are they the same number? They're not the same number. But they say forged in USA. Even the one that I had. Forged in upside down. Forged in USA. These are the good ones. The American made. Most of my tools are the older Craftsman. Almost every single one, with the exception of just a couple of sockets that I've broke in recent years and had to exchange them, which they still will offer the replacement, except you just don't get the same quality, I feel. But yeah, I used to have Craftsman power tools, some. Well, my drill press is, but that was before everything moved. My toolboxes are the older ones, and I just don't quite. I was diehard Craftsman for my tools. And Jimmer, I'm sure that you've got some of these as well. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, honestly, but I don't quite know how I feel about the new stuff. Yes, it still has the same name. Is it the same? I don't think so, but whatever. And one thing that kind of stinks is right here in Colorado Springs, there was a steel plant. Well, not a steel plant necessarily, but I forget what it's called. But it was called Western Forge, and they used to make a lot of the Craftsman, like screwdrivers and stuff like that, were done right here in Colorado Springs. They would forge them, and in fact, probably some of these that I have, if I don't hit myself in the lip, yes. Okay, so here's an example. If you look at the part number on that, you see that WF? That's Western Forge. This thing was made in Western Forge, which used to be right here in Colorado Springs, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, in the last couple of years, they have gone out of business. Right there, WF. You can't find those anymore. The plant is closed down. They've sold off everything, and it's kind of sad because I don't know. The place I used to work, we used to print some things that went to Western Forge, some Craftsman things, and they went down there for part of the packaging and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel bad. But anyway, Robert says to Paul, that's what I've heard also. Scott says, make Haley an RC tank lawnmower. You guys can play games, tank games, cutting the lawn. Scott, that would be great. Maybe launch like water balloons or something. You could be mowing and then, I don't know, some water balloon launcher or like a water cannon or something. That'd be sweet. Oh man, we'd have all kinds of fun. It says lawn cutting wars. Sam says, what brand of power saw has that rapid blade retraction if it's about to cut flesh? I see it online, but I can't find anywhere on websites. Sam, that would be a Saw Stop. Oh, Scott's right there. Saw Stop. Yep. Sam says, is it an American brand? Craftsman used to be an American brand. Used to be. The brand is still around, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Used to be, it was one of those brands where, you know, pretty much it seems like that's what everybody you knew when you were growing up had. You know, when you were a kid, your grandpa or your dad had Craftsman tools, and that's what you used. You were working on whatever you were working on, the lawnmower, the tractor, the car. Your grandpa had Craftsman tools, and when you started getting your own tools, that's what you wanted. You wanted Craftsman tools because that's what everybody had, and they were good quality tools. And I was the same way. I started, you know, my collection of Craftsman tools, you know, a long time ago. And yeah, it's just not quite the same as it was. They went in through financial troubles and like got sold off, and it seems like it was gone for a while, but then it got brought back, and a lot of it's made overseas. Now there's that fly. He's back. He just did a flyby here right by my ear. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, you know, growing up, it was what you wanted, and now you can't get it anymore, really. At least not in the same way that you used to. Jimmer says, yep, have mine, my uncles, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, Craftsman tools, all USA. Yes. I've got some that were my grandpa's. You know, I've got mine. I don't know. Robert says, I saw a tracked remote lawnmower that's pretty heavy-duty looking. Looked like it could go just about anywhere. Of course, it looked almost the size of a VW Bug. Wow. Scott says, I still have some old Craftsman. Still use them instead of buying new. I have some of their professional line of screwdrivers and wrenches. So good. Yeah, I've got these I've not been able to find anywhere. This is like their industrial version. I've broken a couple of these. And before Sears went away and everything went overseas, I took some of these industrial ones in. And what I ended up having to replace it with is the professional. You know, still says made in the USA, still has the Western Forge on there. But there's something about these that I really like, and I wish I could get another set. Because, this one's the tip's jacked up on. But I still like my Craftsman tools. I do. Sam says, can't use DeWalt power tool from America for some reason. The tool operates on different voltage. Probably, yeah, if it's from here, it's going to be on 120. Paul says, I have a Craftsman Edger, over 20 years old, and it still fires right up. And all I ever do is occasionally change the plug-in oil. Yeah. Yeah, that's the good old stuff. It just works. Sam says, autocorrect got me again. Ay, ay, ay. Jimmer says, did I ever show you my grandfather's 932 drive set? It doesn't ring a bell, so I don't, maybe not. Maybe not. Cool. Well, anyway, now that we've covered the whole range of things. Oh, Harry Dude says, for me, it was Sidchrome hand tools here in Australia. Lifetime warranty back in the day. Don't think they're the same these days. Harry Dude, that sounds exactly like these Craftsmen. Back in the day, it's what everybody had, right? I mean, you still had like the higher end, the Snap-on and the Mac, more kinds of tools. But for most people, Craftsman, you could get it at at Sears. You could get it at several different places, mostly Sears, but it's just what everybody had, great quality, and now it's not the same. Yeah, it sounds very similar. So, Paul says, have a great week, guys. Sam says, thank you for the fantastic stream today. You absolute legend. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. So I gotta clean up my screwdriver pile here that I've now dug out, and we're gonna get started on some more stuff. I gotta check in, see what the kiddo's up to, and yeah, we got work to do. We got things to get done around here. Jimmer says 9:30 seconds came before quarter-inch drive. Quarter eventually won out. Interesting. Robert says, I read last week, Red Lobster filed for Chapter 13 last week and are shutting down their restaurants across the country. Robert, I heard that too. I'm not a fan of Red Lobster necessarily, but nothing against them. I'm just not a seafood eater, but I've heard that as well. Dallas says, have a great week all. Sam says, be safe, everyone. Right on. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Before you leave, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, which I know all of you are already anyway. But thank you guys for taking some time to hang out here at the shop. I'm going to go get to work now. And we'll see you guys next week, Wednesday, for Wednesday Live here at Home Built Workshop. Have an awesome week, everyone. Thanks again. Take care, and we'll see you next time. I'm out. Here's the button. Later, guys.